Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me for Evening Beat to get a look at your top local headlines on this Tuesday night. First, let's go ahead and get into our top local story for today. A big story in Minnesota as a whole today. Governor Tim Walz signing two executive orders this morning expanding gun violence prevention measures in Minnesota through executive powers. The first executive order, according to Walz, aims to expand the administration's efforts to provide added education on so-called red flag laws and safe storage practices. That same order will also require insurance companies to submit homeowners' policy and claims data on firearms using the state's existing authority to issue data calls to recommend possible policy changes. The other order establishes what's called a statewide safety council. That council will meet monthly with the goal of issuing recommendations on gun violence sometime within the next year. Walz hopes both orders can lay groundwork for the upcoming legislative session. The backdrop on all of this is a continued conversation in St. Paul on guns that is likely to continue in the spring legislative session. Walz and DFL leaders said today that they'd like to take more defined action and appear poised to push ahead with more ambitious policy in February when the legislature meets up again. A tie in the Minnesota House means they'll need Republicans on board to do any of it. And ahead of next fall, an election season is already in swing for candidates in Minnesota's gubernatorial race. Minnesota Speaker of the House and Republican candidate Governor Lisa Demuth toured Nuss Truck and Equipment in Rochester today after speaking with business leaders in southeast Minnesota. Demuth's visit comes after she scored second place in a straw poll by the Republican Party of Minnesota's State Central Committee. Demuth, a critic of Governor Tim Walz, spoke on a variety of topics, including the governor's recent decision to create a new statewide fraud prevention program. Rochester police are investigating the death of a man whose body was found outside of an education building. Police responded to the CTAC building just after 9 a.m. That's the Career and Technical Education Center off College View Road East. Rochester police say there was no signs of foul play. Police say there is no known threat to the public. A showdown is brewing in Rochester city government over a planned sports complex for the Rochester area. Mayor Norton vetoing a resolution to approve funds for the complex. Mayor Kim Norton vetoed a couple of decisions made by the Rochester City Council on contracts for the voter-approved regional sports complex. The original decision was made by the Rochester City Council in a 5-2 decision on December 8th. The veto stops contracts for construction and operators. Norton says she is surprised by the lack of support for her position. She has long cautioned against the expediency of the project, believes her decision is in line with the people. The power of the veto has been used sparingly by Norton since she was first elected in 2018. These are the latest two of her 11th and 12th, respectively. The City Council has scheduled an emergency session next week to review the veto. And that, of course, is a story that we will continue to cover and bring you updates when we have them. That is a look at our top local headlines for this Tuesday night. Thank you so much for joining me.